Hi, sisters. Sometimes it's just in your spirit and you gotta let it out, right? Yeah. So bear with me. Cause you made something. Hey, sisters. We're back together again. Welcome to those of you who have not spent time with us. My name is Sonora, and this is Something Out of Nothing, or Soon by Sonora. It is not a religious channel, although I am Christian by spiritual affiliation. I definitely welcome all of my Muslim and my Jewish sisters, because you're sisters too, here to this safe place where we will together learn, grow, and aspire to do our best to be our best. I'm so glad you joined me. And for all of those viewers that popped in and checked on what is this about, I want to say thank you. Um, Again, this was a divine inspiration, and I'm going to give you more of my story another time, but it definitely was not something that I'm looking to get a quadrillion viewers on. But when it happens, I will be just as grateful as when I had 4. So thank you for taking the time and trusting me to help you on your journey in a day and a time when there's so much to do. And there's so many other options and there's so many other TikToks. It says a lot about you that you would take this time to invest in yourself. So thank you for joining me. So as always, I got my wine glass. I call this my fat belly glass. I don't know, because it's just round and reminds me of a little fat belly. So cheers to you. I'm going to take a sip. I have a really nice light summer wine. I threw a couple of oranges in there because I felt like being fancy. All right, let's get into it. Man, was this a week for you? I don't know what's going on with the planets, the stars, what's in retrograde or moving forward, back, hopped over, skipped, or jumped over the moon. It was a week for me. It was a week for me. Um, it says something when I have to climb into the bed and take a nap. I've just been 99 miles an hour for the last few days, to say the least. And I can honestly say, I'm tired. I'm tired. That doesn't mean that I stop. It just means I move at a slower pace. And for those of you who know that I move at 99 miles an hour, yeah, I'm at that moment. I'm there. But I want to welcome you to episode 3. Wow, right? Of the Revelation of the Revolution. And we are growing together. We're going to do this together. I am definitely following my notes today because I have a lot to say and I don't want to belabor it or belinger it or get off tangent. Okay. So, first of all, I want to ask, has your revolutionary change started? Did you get past video episode 1 and start into 2? Have you figured out where it is the divine God of all creation has identified an area where you need to move on, move up, continue to grow, move to the next step? Have you found that? Um, and on that journey, what did you discover so far? What have you really, really spent some time discovering? Are you committed to your change? Have you committed to it? Have you really made it a part of your everyday focus? Um, when our job gives us a directive to get something done, and this is the due date, we go into work every day focused on getting it done by that due date. Like, we're focused on it. And we don't let anything stop us because we need our check. I don't know about you, but I need my check, right? So we focus on it and we're working hard to get it done. Do we take that same tenacity, that same focus into our personal lives? Most of us don't even really think about it. We're like, oh, when we leave work, oh, I have left all of that behind. But that means that you give your very best to somebody else and you don't save any for yourself. So just something for you to think about, okay? Um, hey, are you experiencing your 5 minutes? Are you in on it? Did you buy in on it? Um, and if you have not started on it, then I encourage you. So I talked to somebody and at first they were saying, oh, no, I have quiet time. I said, no, would you turn everything off and shut everything down and really have some moments of to yourself? And she said, you know what, I'm going to start doing that when I get out of the car. Before I get out of the car, when I get home from work. I said, great. And I said, if you don't understand the value of 5 minutes, before you walk in your door in the evening, set your timer and look at how much you accomplish as a woman in your first 5 minutes home. You done pulled the mail, you done took something out for dinner, you done checked on somebody in the household, you have started the next thing, you have put something in the washing machine. Like your first 5 minutes is just absolutely absorbed. And before you know it, time has gone. So make it a priority. And I know in the beginning it's a struggle, but it's also addictive. So when you get the first 5 minutes on day one, it may seem like it's a long time. Day two, it might seem like it's a long time. Day three, you might think, oh, I can't wait for my 5 minutes. And then it just keeps going. But the converse can happen, if you start sacrificing your 5 minutes to do other things, it will disappear from you. So remember, that 5 minutes is about you connecting with the divine, reminding yourself of how wonderful you are. You're changing the conversation, you're having a conversation, right? And making it a meaningful moment in your day to remind yourself that you were designed to do great and wonderful things for yourself and for others, but most of all, to glorify the Creator. Okay, so with that in mind, today we are going to take a look at changing the reflection in the mirror. Oh, okay. So in true mirror fashion, we are going to flip this so that it's the opposite of, usually I start with the divine, I go to the interior, and then I take it to those that are around us, right? Today I'm going to start with those around us and I'm going to end with the divine. And you'll get it by the time we finish. So the reflection from others. When I refer to that, I'm talking about how we see ourselves in others' eyes. How do we rate ourselves? When you going into some place brand new and no one knows who you are, what are you saying in your head? What do you see in your own mind's eye, your third eye? What are you seeing of yourself before you introduce yourself? What's that perception that you get of yourself from others? Okay. Um, because as much as we try to say, girl, I'm not worried about what nobody else says, what other people say about us does matter. No matter how much we don't want it to, what other people say about us does matter. It absolutely does. We can't, even when we don't want to, we can't control that. We'll say, oh, that girl makes me sick. And I don't want her to have that much power over me. But it happens. So how do we change it? The only thing that we can control is we can control who we allow to hold up our mirrors. What people say matter, but we don't always have to keep an eye on that reflection. It's when we constantly meter what we perceive that person is looking at that it starts to really matter to us. Um, Please forgive me, I cannot remember her name. Phenomenal songstress that was the lead character in The Color Purple for many years. She played the role of Celie. And she mentions in an interview that for 4 years, every day, sometimes twice a day, she was called ugly. She's beautiful. And she said that even though she knows she's beautiful, she said 4 years of people that she knew and who knew she was beautiful. For 4 years, she listened to people call her ugly. Um, and she says it does do something to you. So, yes, what other people say about you does matter, but we have the control of controlling that environment sometimes. Okay. Um, so we want to make sure that either we want to take hold over who holds our mirror, who do we hold in high esteem when they're speaking to our reflection, or we want to control who's able to see our reflection, right? So as a be better bestie, right? For those of us who are in the BBB roles, you should always be a BBB to someone, and someone should always be a BBB to you. That's our accountability partner. That's the person that's going to tell us the truth to help us to be better and not to hurt us. So when that person is holding up the mirror, we want to make sure that if you're holding up the mirror for someone, that you're honest without being hurtful. Um, People's egos are fragile, and we're all trying. The percentage of try is different for each person, but we're all trying, and just to be shot down is not kind. Okay? You want to be consistently encouraging and not condemning. When you need to say something that you know is going to hurt somebody's feelings, take a pause, take a moment, and think about, how do I say this to bring out the best in somebody? Now, I'm going to pause for a minute because I know some of y'all are listening saying, I know that did not just come out of Sonora's mouth. It did, because Sonora had to grow into Sonora, because Sonora is on this journey right along with you, because I am learning to do the things that I am being inspired to share. So yes, I know a lot of you are saying that, okay, that is Miss New York all day long. It is what it is. You know, we can serve this poop on China or it can be on Chinette. Which one do you want? But it's still poop. Yeah, but sometimes if you put a little garnish on it, somebody will taste it and say, ooh, what is this? And those of you who have children know, because we put sugar in everything to get them to eat it. And whether or not they know it's good for them, they still eat it as long as it's got a little different flavor on it, right? So it does matter. It really does matter. And then remember, BBBs, your input is to encourage someone to be their best version of themselves. The minute I meet somebody who wants to be a friend, if they're not fitting that criteria right there, that's on the top of my list, I don't need you. I don't need you. I can trauma bond with a whole lot of people. I need somebody who's going to understand my trauma, but better yet, help me work my way out of it. Right? So I'm always looking for a BBB who is trying to encourage me to be my best, and I actually do have that. So I'm not I'm not so worried. So that's where we come from when it comes to the reflection in the mirror from others. We need to make sure that if we're holding up a mirror or if we're giving feedback in a mirror, that we are the person that's being encouraging in that. Now let's take it to ourselves. Um, so this is a moment that I am going to do the thing that's the hardest for me to do sometimes. I think that's why I was given this assignment. Vulnerability is hard for me. Um, and it's been hard because I developed a wonderful shell that allows me to feel safe. I'm safe in my egg. Leave me alone. No, I'm not. Go crack it. But that's where I'm being placed. So when it comes to being in the mirror, I'm going to share a very vulnerable, very honest story. And if tears fall, then they fall. Thank you for helping me to make this a safe place for me to be. When I was 10 years old, I lost my eye. And that was really hard. I spent a whole year out of school. I was already a younger student, so I was 10 years old in the sixth grade. And then you're sixth grade in New York, you're still in elementary school. In New York, you go to junior high school. And other states is what they call middle school. And y'all know middle school. Middle school is the worst. When my kids got to middle school, I was trying to farm them out to anybody. Thank you, y'all. Even though y'all sent them back with your children. I mean, why you do that for, right? But middle school kids can be cruel. They're all awkward. They smell. Gosh, why do they gotta smell so bad, right? Their hormones are kicking in and they don't know who they are. They want to be identified as this, but they're still this. Oh my gosh, the worst, right? Um, and so in that process, um, and I was getting fitted for my prosthetic, it was I'd go to school with a green eye and a brown eye or a blue eye. And oh my gosh, some of the children could have that I didn't go to school with. A lot of us transferred from PS 37, hey, over to middle school. Um, and when those who were in my class and knew my story were compassionate, and those who weren't were very cruel, were very, very cruel. And also, middle school is where you start to discover boys, right? That's where you start to discover boys. That's where the popular crowd comes into play and all of that. And I really retreated. And for many, many years, um, there were kids that laughed at me and called names and you go to high school and you just kind of I retreated a little bit. I came out a little bit more in high school. I was like, I'm not going to live life like this. But I still just kind of those words of those hurtful words that I heard in middle school in my developmental years never left me. They never left me. And as I blossomed into a young woman, even as a woman, even after I got divorced, and I would hear people call me beautiful, and I'm like, who are they talking to? They don't see what I see. They don't, oh, they're not looking at this. Can I just be real? I would say, oh, they're just looking at my booty. They're not looking at the person. So that's not what they're really calling beautiful. And I didn't hear that for a long, 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 long time. Um, The only time it ever really resonated is when senior adult women would speak to me and would say, "Oh, you're such a beautiful woman," and I would be like, "For real?" And then I was like, "Wow, okay, so what did I do with my hair that day, or what did I do with my makeup that day that made them think that? I need to do that every day so that everybody sees that all the time, right?" And then when I finally started as a single person and I started putting after my divorce and I started investing some time in myself and I had to go back out into the dating world and make myself attractive to men. Oh my gosh, that was such a hard journey. So then I did the exact opposite. I was just like, okay, if I put on this certain color, this certain dress, if I do my hair a certain way, if I do this, I do that, I can make myself to appear beautiful, right? And that gets, oh my gosh, that gets so tiring. It just gets tiring because then again, I'm metering myself based off of what these men who did not deserve the right to make that judgment, what they were, what their impression of beauty was, and I was imposing it upon myself. And it's probably in the last 7 years or so that I started looking to identify my beauty from within. And I started to work on the reflection so that my reflection gave me back who the creator designed me to be. Now, if any of you are artistic, don't mess with my creation while I'm working on it. Don't work on it. Don't touch it. Leave it alone. Matter of fact, I don't want anybody in the room while I'm working on it. I'm going to do this all by myself, right? Leave me alone. So when you're working on that artistic thing and then when it's done, I don't want your judgment because it looks like when I bring it out to the world, it looks like exactly what I wanted it to look like. And to me, it is beautiful. So there are some of you that I've danced with, or I've danced in churches, and I don't even perform it until I have recorded it and recorded myself and cleaned up spaces and I don't like that step and I'll change that. And the same thing when I sing, I'll record myself and listen and change stuff until it sounds like the way that I want to present it. And so when it's done, it's done. And it may not be perfect, but it's beautiful to me and it's the way that I want to present it to the world. It's the same thing with our divine creator. He has worked on you so hard. Even the trials that he has put us through, he has worked. That's where he was chiseling away pieces to make the details that would make this sparkle. Girl, you are beautiful. Do you not know how beautiful you are and how beautiful you were designed to be? So don't measure your mirror by your eyes. Measure your mirror by your soul. So I'm going to give us another assignment as we continue this revolution, right? And as we spend our time in quiet time, keep a little notepad with you because I want you to every week start asking the divine creator, what did you design me to look like? Not what do I look like right now? You can throw some of that in there if it fits. But what did you design me to look like? And when I stopped and asked that, it was a 7 months journey. And after that 7 months, I came out with a list of 40 adjectives. Oh my gosh, that was hard. 40 adjectives of who God said I was. And I'm not even that yet. That's the amazing part. I'm still on the potter's wheel. And when as he's designing me, he has something in mind. It's not just that, okay, well, let's see what this comes out to be. That's sloppy work. It was who God had in mind for me.